Gaylord Briar had taught his crow, Cory, to speak. Now, with its mended wing, the bird perched comfortably on his shoulder. They had left the dead body behind on the trail, but the act weighed heavily on Gaylord's soul. He felt sick, not from the effort, but from the cold realization of what he'd done. Murder. And now, an even greater responsibility loomed. Finding his way back to a semblance of his old life. "Which way do we turn?" Gaylord asked the crow.
"How should I know, my lord?"
Cory replied, turning his beady eyes back toward the trail they had traveled. "I want to turn myself in," Gaylord said, nausea churning his stomach as the adrenaline began to wear off. He feared man's justice, but craved escape from the guilt that gripped him. He thought he had acted out of righteousness, but doubts gnawed at him. Had Curl, the voice in his head, compelled him to kill? No, he decided. This was his burden alone to bear. As Gaylord often said, "These have given me life, and for death, life is but the knowledge." The words offered no comfort. Pulling the man's wallet from his pocket, he used his sleeve to open it, memorized the ID, and pocketed the cash. Then he discarded the empty wallet onto the path, leaving the body as a grim warning to any who might stumble upon it. He found refuge in a boarded-up house marked by the sheriff as a former meth lab. Nobody dared to go there, except Gaylord. He reasoned that even murderers deserved shelter, though the thought was a bitter consolation. From this vantage point, he watched the victim's family as the police delivered the tragic news. Would he have loved them again, in time? Gaylord whispered.
"Would Amityville love them again, in time?"
Cory echoed, clicking reproachfully.
"In time, all things come to be. Death will always happen."
Gaylord pondered the words. "Are you saying he might have killed them?" He wondered if this might justify what he'd done.
"You might have killed him," Cory retorted. "I asked you, will he die? And you did."
Their grim path had shifted once again. Gaylord ventured into town for food, only to draw the attention of the local police. "I'm Detective Winters," a lean man with sharp eyes introduced himself, lighting a cigarette with a nearly spent Zippo. "You're new around here, right? Do a lot of walking?" "Yes," Gaylord replied nervously. "Is there something I can help you with?" "You live in that place?" Winters gestured toward the condemned meth lab. Gaylord nodded. You want to be helpful? Is that it? Winters asked, his tone unreadable. I'd like to be. Gaylord lied, dread rising in his chest. We found a guy murdered, down by the rust pond, Winters said, blowing smoke into the air. We can't figure out what he was doing there, or how he ended up in that state. Maybe you can help. The rust pond? Gaylord repeated, startled. Winters studied him for an uncomfortable moment before shrugging. Never mind then. Let's see what you think. Gaylord reluctantly agreed. He followed Winters to a patrol car, where Corey perched on his lap. The crow muttered uneasily. This man is strange. He wants nothing from you and asks you for something, Corey observed. Gaylord fed Corey a piece of bologna from his groceries. Where are we going? He asked Winters. To the rust pond, the detective replied. Also, I like you. Let's stay close for now. I'd rather not. I insist, Winters said flatly. At the pond, police tape marked the perimeter. A steep, rotting path led to the water, where the victim's body lay covered. White ash formed strange patterns among the muck and rotted leaves. He was casting a spell, Gaylord said, staring at the ashen circle. Do you know how he died? Winters asked. Gaylord stayed silent. Nearby, a second officer examined the scene. Corey hopped nervously, muttering to Gaylord. His soul is trapped. He committed a great evil. The magic was his attempt to silence it, but instead he woke it up. It's still here, hungering for revenge. Gaylord's blood turned cold. A raspy, unnatural breath emerged from the shadows. What is that? Hands up! Show me your hands! The second officer shouted at something unseen. A skeletal figure lunged from the darkness, choking the officer with bony fingers. The man collapsed lifelessly as the creature turned its eyeless sockets toward Gaylord. Agitate the circle of ash, Corey hissed. Gaylord scrambled forward, kicking at the pattern. Detective Winters fired his weapon, shattering the creature's skull and severing an arm. The undead horror crumbled into a heap, lifeless once more. Back at the car, Gaylord settled into the back seat with Corey perched on his shoulder. The crow picking at the last remnants of the bologna from the grocery bag. Detective Winters leaned against the open driver's side door, lighting another cigarette. He exhaled thoughtfully, his sharp eyes scanning the dark horizon, before turning back to Gaylord. You know, Winters began, after all that, I feel like I need a moment to regroup. Maybe grab a bite. Gaylord raised an eyebrow. You're thinking McDonald's? Yeah, Winters replied. I figured we could sit down, have some fries, and talk through whatever the hell that was back there. Gaylord looked down at Corey, who clicked approvingly. Fries sound nice. Winters smirked faintly. Good. We'll figure this out. One step at a time. Yeah? Gaylord nodded, his grip tightening on the bag in his lap. One step at a time, indeed. And fries didn't sound bad at all.